Well, for about 2 weeks now, old Kia has been at this shop here. And let me tell you, the Pennsylvania RV show, the Hershey show, it's about a week away, so I'm getting restless. Well, that was Thursday morning. It is now Saturday night, and my suspicions were correct. Apparently, they ran into all kinds of problems, putting a new engine into... New engine, yeah. Actually, I'll tell you all about it tomorrow morning. I'm gonna hit the road now.
I'm riding with my RV, wherever I want to be. 'Cause I'm free in my RV. Yeah.
Well, good morning. This is where I ended up spending the night. Now let's get some breakfast, shall we? And my favorite is usually Grandpa's. I just had the Grandpa's breakfast, which is my favorite. I arrived here last night. What time was it? Like at 1 a.m. And it is now 7-ish. And I'm gonna take a quick break and then hit the road again. This is where I slept. Very nice, very quiet. We're here in Vero Beach, Florida. And now, as we hit the road, I'm gonna tell you what happened to the car. Alright, let me tell you what happened. A little over 2 weeks ago, I took the car, for service. It needed it. I was going to embark on this long trip to New England. So, spark plugs, brakes, belts, the works. But what happened, by the time I was supposed to pick up the car, the service manager of the place tells me that there is a problem. They broke some hoses and they had to replace them and they had to order them. It wouldn't be ready till the next day. The next day he tells me that when they turned over the engine for the first time, it was making a horrible noise and they were gonna fix it. Don't worry. Well, 2 weeks later, I just got my car, and the consensus is, and he isn't even sure, but the consensus is that a tiny piece of ceramic from one of the spark plugs fell into the engine somewhere in there. I'm not a mechanic, but I know the basics of internal combustion. I guess if something falls into the cylinder and you fire up the engine, that could cause some damage. To make a long story short, they had to get me a new engine, and it happened to be a long weekend, so the new engine took forever to get here to Miami. I'm not in Miami anymore. And then to add insult to injury, apparently when they took everything apart, it's an old car. So like all the hoses, they cracked, everything started falling apart when they took everything out. And in order to put the engine back in, they basically had to put back all new hoses, all new cables, even the reservoir for the coolant, everything is new. So Kia is running great. I'm on the road again. I have to drive non-stop if I want to make it to Hershey, Pennsylvania by Industry Day, which is the goal now. So I'm leaving much later, and I'm trying to arrive 1 day earlier, or at least half a day earlier. So that's the story. Enjoy the ride, and if I can show you anything along the way, I will. I'm gonna stop here by Palm Coast to put gas and buy Illy's favorite wine, and then off we go again. Passing downtown Jacksonville, And with that, we say goodbye to Florida and hello to Georgia on my mind. Let's go into the Welcome Center. Well, hello everybody. I took a shower. Can you tell? It is very hot here in southern Georgia and northern Florida. And I'll probably start breaking a sweat here really soon. But anyways, let's go inside the Welcome Center, see what's going on, what they have. Which, by the way, I am thinking of taking a more inland route, in part because of the heat. Maybe, you know, if I hug the Appalachian Mountains a little more, it'll be less hot, cooler. And according to Google, it's only 25 extra minutes, so it might be worth it. Anyway, I'm doing pretty good time. It is, I've been here almost an hour. It is now almost 1 p.m. and I'm going to see if I can get a Georgia map and hit the road again. In my original plan, I was going to explore this area, the Cumberland Islands. You know, I wanted to explore Cumberland Island and even a little further north, like Jekyll Island and all that. But of course, you all know that's not going to happen, right? Here we are. Oh, got my map. Let's continue. By the way, part of the reason why I'm taking that more of a western, you know, inland route is, check it out. It's because I want to avoid like the big cities like DC. You know, that eastern corridor can get a little busy sometimes. Did I mention it is hot? Let's go north quickly. Let's go into the mountains. You see, that's what I would like to have a motorized. You just flip a switch and you have air conditioning, you know, generator. Unless I figure out a way to permanently mount a generator here, you know, because right now, for the time I'm gonna be here, I don't want to like carry the generator down, take out the cable. You know, it's a little bit of an ordeal. Let me show you what they did here with the engine. By the way, I still have sand from Key West down there. You see? Apparently all these hoses, all these cables, they put new, the reservoir is new as well. The only thing that has me kind of nervous is that they didn't put the plastic cover. I don't know if that's just ornamental or if that's like something that helps anything with the engine. And this seems to be loose. Like they forgot to put a screw somewhere. I'll figure it out. Anyways, let's continue north. Next state, South Carolina. As I'm about to leave, I get recognized by this nice gentleman and his family. Sorry I didn't get his name, but if you watch this video, you made my day, as my travel woes are about to begin. A couple of miles down the road, the check engine light came on. Engine vibrations and loss of power followed, and I'm like, this is no good. Luckily, they have Tires Plus locations everywhere in this area, so I've decided to stop here in Brunswick to see if they can take a look at it. They don't seem to be very busy, but they've said that they cannot look at it until tomorrow. I understand, it is a Sunday afternoon. I'm just gonna use my OBD2 reader here to have an idea what it's going on and get this show back on the road. Check engine light did turn on and it started running rough for a couple of miles back there. The code said something about cylinder 5 misfire, but I cleared it and I forgot to take a screenshot. I'm sure it'll happen again. I went to the Tires Plus, but they couldn't do anything. They didn't have enough employees, I guess. It's Sunday. We'll make it there. since the misfire seems to be very intermittent and 90% of the time the engine runs well, I've made the executive decision to continue pushing north. Maybe it is just a glitch, maybe I'm just a fool, but at this point, I'm still kind of determined to make it to Hershey by tomorrow. Let's stop here at the South Carolina Welcome Center and take a break. It looks like we have a couple of stowaways here, some much needed coffee, and on the road again we are. Okay, let's talk about gas mileage. Not great. Last fill up was 9.87 miles per gallon, but it's been hovering around 9. I thought with the new engine, new spark plugs and all that, I would get better mileage, but it's actually a little worse, which is unexpected. I am going to take I-26 west now and make that inland detour, and there is the occasional rain, but this is my kind of landscape. Rolling hills, which is a nice change of scenery for sure. As night begins to fall, I arrive at Columbia. Not the South American country, but South Carolina's capital city, and check out Exhibit A here on the left. There's a Walmart nearby, apparently RV friendly, so yeah. Good night. Well, I can't sleep, so I'm gonna hit the road early. By the way, good morning. I think we'll make it to Hershey today. I don't know if you noticed, but I moved last night. I decided to come to the Cracker Barrel. That Walmart looked a little sketchy, and in my experience, if a place looks sketchy, it usually is, and it's better to err on the side of caution. So anyways, it is now 5:30 a.m. and let's try to beat Charlotte's rush hour traffic. Well, so much for beating rush hour traffic, huh? And now it doesn't look like old Kia is going to make it very far, so I pull over to regroup here. I mean, the misfiring is still very intermittent, but it is evident that it is getting worse. As we pass the Carowinds Amusement Park, we are now in North Carolina.
Welcome to North Carolina.
Thank you. We drive across Lake Norman by the city of Mooresville, and by this point, old Kia is limping along. Let me stop at this rest area here because I have to make a decision. But first, breakfast. Okay, let me tell you what's going on. I am here about an hour north of Charlotte, North Carolina. At this rest area, I just had breakfast. I put that OBD2 code reader, and it says P0205, which is like an injector under voltage or something like that, and then there is a P0305, which is a cylinder 5 misfire. I don't know if that's something really serious. I don't know if I'm gonna make it or if I should take it to a shop. You know, there's no Tire Plus here in this area, but they told me that I could take it to any Firestone. I don't know if I should try to make it. I'm still about 5 to 6 hours away from Hershey. I mean, if I take it to a place, I am not gonna make it to Industry Day. So I don't know. I'm in that. What's the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean? Indecision. Dilemma. Well, I'm gonna have to backtrack to Mooresville, and I'm gonna take it to a Firestone. See what's going on. Oh well. So I'm backtracking about 20 miles. Yeah, I was gonna try to push it, see if I could make it, but I'd rather get stuck here and not in the middle of nowhere.
By the way, Mooresville here is home of many NASCAR racing teams and drivers, so it is probably also home of some of the best mechanics in the world. Unfortunately, and this is a spoiler alert, by the way, that was the last time old Kia ever towed anything. Let's have a moment.
Well, I'm boondocking at the Firestone. Well, I'm gonna start to do like Mike and say that my plan is not to have a plan, because I did not have a plan to spend the night here in Mooresville, North Carolina. But it looks that way. I've got my generator going back there. And apparently there is one connector on the engine, something that the people in Miami didn't do correctly apparently. And they're ordering it. It's coming tomorrow morning, so tomorrow noon I should be able to depart towards towards Hershey, Pennsylvania, and see some of the RV show and meet some of you guys. I think I'm gonna edit some video while I'm here. I'll turn on the AC a little bit. Had I known, I would have leveled the RV a little better, but it's not bad. It's level enough. I'll keep you posted.
Oh, by the way, did I mention there's a hurricane coming? Yeah, that too. I went to dinner with my friend and fellow YouTuber Brian Wood and his family, but we didn't even take a selfie.
Good morning from Mooresville, North Carolina. Here I am, editing a little bit of a video. I brought my generator in last night. It's a little bit of a mess in here. There's my mobile office with my CDs and stuff. And here I am, boondocking at the Firestone still. I'm going to make some coffee now and some breakfast. And then I found the post office. I have to walk like a quarter mile or so. And I'm gonna mail one CD, and then hopefully by noon Kia will be ready. Wrap for breakfast. I put some ham, cheese, chicken salad from Publix, some veggies, and some Thousand Island dressing, and on one of these organic mission tortillas. The mechanic said that he's going to, the parts arrive around 10-11-ish, and the mechanic told me he was going to get right to it. You know, he's going to drop everything and get right to it so he can get me out of here soon. So I'm anticipating between 12 and 1 p.m. I'll be on the road, but who knows? Well, I just mailed a CD here, found this place. And check it out, they have a Publix here. I know in New England things might start to look a little unfamiliar, but at least for now, we're still in Publix land.
My mechanic here owns a vintage Dodge Ram, so you know he's legit, right? Still, he's been working all day on old Kia, and still there's no solution to the misfire problem.
Alright everybody, quick update here. I'm trying not to lose my cool, but it's been one of those days. I don't know if I told you, but they are not able to fix Kia. It's a little bit of a red tape issue with the Miami office and the Miami regional manager. I don't know exactly what's going on yet. But anyways, I came to U-Haul to rent a truck. And unfortunately, everybody very nice here in this town of Mooresville. But unfortunately, their trucks only have the 4-pin connector, so it's no good to tow Mini Teeny. Now Richard, a viewer, a friend here in Mooresville, is going to come pick me up. We're gonna pick up Mini Teeny, and I'm gonna be boondocking at his home tonight. And hopefully all this will get solved soon. I really do. I haven't been filming much today because it's been a little bit of a frustrating day, but hopefully tomorrow we'll get on the road and eventually begin the real portion of this trip. We just arrived here at Richard's house, and this gentleman, what's your name again?
Barry.
Barry was so kind to tow me to Minitini with his truck, and now I'm boondocking here at Richard's place.
Hey, we got Robert
And,
all straightened out.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and
Don't worry about it.
And hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to get a truck and get on the road before this hurricane passes through.
Listen, my house is your house. You can stay there as long as you want. Don't worry about it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, here are my luxury accommodations for the night.
That's where old Kia is spending the night. Yeah, let's take advantage that we hear stuff that I like. Richard, where are we going?
We're going to Tim's Table.
Tim's Table, and that's,
Tim's Table in downtown Mooresville.
let me tell you, it's been a stressful day, so I could use a nice meal and an IPA.
Well, you'll get a nice meal, a good IPA. It'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be good. It's been a stressful day, but it's already getting better. And tomorrow, I have a feeling tomorrow it's gonna be almost back to normal. We'll see.
Cool.
I have to find a truck. That's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, talk to you guys later.
See you guys. One of the oldest hardware stores in North Carolina, right here. Is E.E. Turner. Such a great little place. It's all original. It's not open. That's too bad. Oh, it's so cool.
Local 100 for sale.
All right, here we are. Let's eat. Pretty cool place. I think I'm going to go for the Cuban sandwich.
Trees, I love it.
Well, let's eat.
And just like that, a pretty stressful day comes to an end as the sun sets over Mooresville, North Carolina. Good morning from my full hookup site here at Richard's. On the next day, after much waiting, Bridgestone was able to get me a truck, probably the last available truck in the whole state of North Carolina, with the hurricane coming and all that. It was an hour away drive in Gastonia, so I went there and drove it back to Mooresville to pick up Minitini.
There's Lake Norman.
Of course, there is a great height differential between this truck and old Kia, so I'm gonna have to ask the guys at the Firestone if they can help me adjust the hitch.
Might as well take care of my tire problem. They're gonna replace that rear tire, and off we go.
Yeah, you all know I have that one tire that wears out faster than the rest, right? It is going to take me a while to get used to this big truck, but if there is a plus, it is that I can't barely notice I am towing anything at all. So, Tires Plus and Firestone's parent company Bridgestone came through after all, and I'm on the road again. The fate of old Kia? Still uncertain at this point. I think they are going to tow it all the way back to Miami.
On the road again. I'm kind of tired. I'm gonna drive about an hour today and then check this baby out. I'm sure you saw it if you follow me on Instagram at Traveling Robert, but they got me a huge truck. So that's what we're planning on doing for the rest of the trip. The trip is gonna be cut short, by the way. I'm not gonna be able to go to Canada because they're towing old Kia back to Miami for some reason instead of just fixing it here. So I'm gonna have to return this truck in Miami in 2 weeks.
Well, yes, I was originally going to spend some time in the New England states, even New Brunswick, Canada, but plans change, right? I'm gonna stop here at this friendly Walmart and rest, and check it out. We actually fit into 2 adjacent parking spaces. Not so big, after all.
It barely fits, but it fits. Good morning. I think I got the car set up to my liking now. ETA 6 hours and 24 minutes. Let's hit the road.
Well, you know how it is when you get a new car for the first time. You have to set up the Bluetooth and the steering wheel, and in my case, the dash camera mount and the phone mount. And I'm still not 100% comfortable, but it'll do. After about half an hour on the road, we arrive in Virginia. I wanted to stop here at the Welcome Center, but the RV section is all taken because some trucks decided to park in it. There is another whole section just for trucks. Well, I'm kind of bummed out, but isn't this a beautiful drive? And we haven't even really seen the best parts yet, which will be on I-81, I reckon. By the way, Big White here is tackling this long uphill climb like it's nothing. Can't even tell it is towing anything behind, which is quite a change from old Kia.
Hello everybody. This was one of those uphills where old Kia would have struggled tremendously, and this truck didn't even feel it. I mean, it's a heavy duty. What's it called? Anyways, I'm kind of bummed out that I couldn't stop at the Virginia Welcome Center. I was really looking forward to getting a map, but I'm going to Virginia on the way south again, so probably through I-95. So I might be able to do it then.
Well, let's take a quick break here, put gas, and continue. Whoops, wrong side. It continues to be a beautiful drive on I-81, which goes along the Appalachian Mountains, mostly over earlier roads and paths created by Native Americans, early settlers, and even migrating animals, or so I've heard. Let's make a quick breakfast stop, shall we?
My sliced ham went bad, but my cubed ham is still good. I put some cheese, lettuce, Thousand Island dressing, and it's a wrap.
Well, that was a very simple breakfast, but very satisfying.
This truck is a beast. I just floored it back there because I had to pass someone, and it was like nothing is back there. Incredible. By the way, on a sad note, it looks like this inconvenience might shatter my dream of doing the lower 48 by the time I'm 48, although you never know. But I have to return the truck to Miami in 2 weeks or 13 days now. So I'm not gonna be able to see Vermont or New Hampshire. And Maine, maybe. We'll see. Still very happy to be able to continue on the road and travel. It's a beautiful drive, this Interstate 81. I wish I could stop, and smell the mountains, but we'll be back to this area at some point. Now the goal is Hershey, Pennsylvania, by 3 p.m., maybe 4.
To me, I-81 here is a great alternative to I-95, since it doesn't go through any large metropolitan areas, besides being a much more scenic drive. And guess what? We are now in West Virginia.
Welcome to West Virginia.
Thank you. All right, another state. I think there's a visitor center coming up, so let's go in.
Yes, very excited to be back in West Virginia, but unfortunately, like in my previous visit, it is going to be all too brief.
Yeah, there are so many places that I was planning to visit here in West Virginia originally, but I don't think it's gonna happen now.
I continue relentlessly. In about half an hour, we should be crossing into Maryland. A little bit of construction in this area here, and not the smoothest of roads. But as we cross the Potomac River, we are now in Maryland. Just a few minutes later, we enter Pennsylvania. So far, the one thing I don't like about Pennsylvania? Toll booths. Way too many of them here in the Northeast, but it is what it is, right? Now crossing the Susquehanna River into Harrisburg, Pennsylvania's capital. And now we get to pay. It is $5.05 with my 4 axles, and there will be plenty of more tolls in this area. And I know all about the Easy Pass. It would have been a little cheaper and quicker, but I'm on a rental truck, so I didn't want to deal with it.
Driving in this part of the country seems somehow more complicated sometimes. Especially after, driving all day. I'm kind of tired, but 15 minutes, we're gonna be in Hershey, in Elizabethtown, at the KOA. Then we'll go to Hershey for the meetup, and let's see what we can do between the rest of today and tomorrow morning.
I finally arrive at the KOA, and shortly after, I get to meet Herbie, aka Red Jaguar.
You finally made it.
I finally made it.
This is my wife, Mary.
How are you?
Pleased to meet you.
It's a pleasure,
Robert.
likewise. Hi, Robert. I feel like I know you.
Wow, you got a pickup.
And not just any pickup. This is like a monster truck. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been a long trip.
My name is John.
John, I'm Robert. Pleased to meet you. Thank you so
your
much.
videos.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And he was gracious enough to come.
Yes, he was.
I am thankful.
I wanted to be here on Tuesday, but you know.
Yeah, it wasn't your fault.
It wasn't,
was outside of your control.
I know. That's right.
It wasn't outside of your control.
It was outside of my control. Oh well.
But Red Jag got him down this end.
Better late than never, right?
That's right.
You know, so.
You're going to the show?
Tomorrow, I'm just.
Yeah, he only had much time now.
No, I know. If you want, here's the outlay. If you want.
Oh, thank you.
Get a head
That's
start.
great to know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they give you when you get in. But if you got that ahead of time, you can see what's where and
Quick
where.
picture,
Now.
I'm gonna check it out now tonight before.
You going to Maine?
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it to Maine anymore because I have to return this big thing to Miami in 2 weeks.
Well, that's going to Miami.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, originally I was going back to Charlotte. I said, well, from Charlotte I could always come back. It's not that much, but they want me to bring me to Miami because they're towing old Kia to Miami.
Are
I
they?
don't know why. I guess they don't trust North Carolina mechanics.
No, well, corporate office will do
Yeah,
that.
that's probably what they do.
As soon as I arrived in Pennsylvania and I knew I was going to make it to Hershey, I posted on Facebook, let's have a meetup today at Troig's in Hershey at around 6 p.m. So I rode with Herbie and his wife Mary, designated driver, hoping that someone would be there. Check out the Hershey Kisses shaped streetlights. Yeah, I think everything in this town revolves about chocolate. Anyways, here we are, Troig's Independent Brewing, and they have a beer garden.
Let's go inside. With Herbie.
As soon as we arrive, we are greeted by Armando Correa, his wife Annie, and his mom Esperanza. I also get to meet Barbara.
How you doing? Herbie's mine.
My wife Annie.
My wife Mary.
I saw her at the RV show. Annie.
Annie.
Yeah, Annie with the bags.
Busted.
Actually, meeting viewers on the road is one of the most rewarding parts of this job, of this lifestyle. It's always surprising that they know so much about you and you know so little about them. Del Brown, who was inside at the bar, eventually also came out. And that was the group. A small yet diverse group of people with one main thing in common: our love for travel. Eventually, we move inside to get a larger table and something to eat, and it was quite the feast. It was great to hang out and exchange stories from the road.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't get to spend much time here in at the KOA, but it was great. There's Herbie. You gotta give me some of that footage. Okay. All right. And anyways, it was great meeting up with Herbie and the rest of the gang. Mr. Correa and Barbara and Dale. Had a great time last night at the brewery. I'm really tired, by the way. If I sounded tired, it's because I am. It's starting to catch up to me. But the idea is to relax tonight in Philly, charge up on my batteries, and tomorrow we're gonna spend the day in Philadelphia. You know, we'll see as much as we can. I'm not gonna stress, about it and trying to show you guys every single, place at every single attraction, but we'll see some stuff. It'll be fun for sure. Next stop is the Giants Center here in Hershey, Pennsylvania, where we're gonna attend the RV show. I know a lot of you are also gonna be there, and it'll be great to meet up with you guys. Whoa, this road is not the greatest, is it?
Off to Hershey we go.
Riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV. Yeah, I'm riding, I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV. Yeah.
It is a pretty drive, isn't it? If perhaps a little bit more rural than I expected, to be honest. And here we are, arriving at the show. Free parking, by the way, unless you want to overnight. I usually get recognized by quite a few people at events like this one, particularly lately. Well, here we are, the largest RV show in America, or so they say.
Tampa says it's the biggest, but these people, they've got the names.
I'm gonna begin by checking out the Giant Center, which is a lot less crowded than I expected, but hey, it's still early.
It is a lot quieter than I expected. I expected to see more people here, but it's early. I guess it'll get busier later.
Then the vast outdoor area. I was originally going to be here for 4 days, and now I've only got 4 hours. So I'm only going to show you a few of my favorites, and because I made a much longer video of the whole show. My favorite this time around is the Pleasureway Lexer, as we realize that at this stage in our lives we prefer the flexibility of a proper Class B, even if it can be hard to live long-term in such close quarters. Our favorite is actually the TS floor plan, although here I am showing you the FL
Here
model.
we have the wet bath, but it's a pretty sizable one, as you can see. The same large sink, propane stove. Here's a convection microwave. The same Dometic refrigerator we saw on the XLTS. And back here is a very similar deal. I call this the XLTS Mini because you have the bed here and let me show you. We fit east-west or north-south. I don't know exactly how they call it. So it's perfect. I fit completely back here in this sofa, and that's the deal maker for this ProMaster chassis instead of the Sprinter, where it's just a couple of inches too narrow. Okay, let's get out of here. A lot of people are waiting to see this one. Let's check out the Bambi. A lot of people have asked about the Bambi, and this is the Bambi Flying Cloud 19CB.
Well, if we wanted to keep on going the travel trailer route, which we're not really, and if money was no object, which it definitely is, I would probably go for something like this.
Let's see the bathroom, because they usually have a... Okay, this is a pretty clever solution. It's a dry bath, and then if you put it this way, I guess you have some privacy in there, or you can Have it that way. I have more room. Here's the sink on the outside. 3-burner stove. This is a very cool unit because you have a permanent bed and a permanent table. So if you have different schedules, you can both work at the same time. And $60,000 for a 19 CB.
Well, that's all I'm going to cover in this particular video because, as I said, I made a much longer one just about the show. And now, it is a 2-hour drive to Philadelphia, where Ely is flying this evening, and now we're going to switch gears. In the next portion of this trip, we are going to focus on some of the larger cities and how to RV in them. And let me tell you, each one is different. Generally speaking, driving into a big city with an RV or any large vehicle for that matter is not advisable. Unless, of course, you really want to see the city. Finding where to park your rig can also be a challenge, although there is always an option, as we'll soon find out. In any case, today we are going to visit Philadelphia, the birthplace of America and the Philly cheesesteak, among other things. Our RV park here, not in the most attractive part of town, I must say. My friend Rob said it looked like a penitentiary facility, and yes, it is ugly as sin. But we're not staying here for the camping facilities or the natural beauty. We're staying here because it is minutes away from city center. When RVing in big cities, sometimes location and access to public transportation is the most important amenity. The folks who manage the park, very nice, very pleasant, and it seems to be very safe. They even have an electrified fence in the back. They do offer a free shuttle service that will take you to the bus stop. Anyways, here we are. We even have a little bit of a view of the Philly skyline. Well, good morning. I checked and there are no flight restrictions in the area, so let's check out our surroundings before we go from 400 feet above ground. Sometimes even modern cameras can't figure out certain situations like sunrises on their own, so sometimes you just have to dive into the manual mode. Yeah, it is kind of an industrial part of town. Here's the Schuylkill River, a tributary to the Delaware River on the other side of town. which we will see later today when we visit Penn's Landing. The Delaware is the natural border between Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Well, now that I've shown you around, let's get ready to explore Philly.
Well, here we are at the campus park and ride. And now we're going to take a shuttle to the city.
Oh, by the way, kind of noisy here sometimes. Another thing to consider. We take the shuttle bus out of this industrial area and, that's a pretty big garage sale. At least that's what I think that is. We go across the river onto University City, where all the hospitals are, and here we take bus 42 the rest of the way.
Caution, 30 seconds. 4, 16, 27, 32, and caution. Caution.
Hey, there's the Independence Hall. I think we missed our stop. Let's get off right here. Here they have a statue called the Signer, almost right next door to the Independence Hall. It was completed in 1980, and it is dedicated to those who signed the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Let's walk half a block here towards the Independence Hall, which was originally the Pennsylvania State House. In order to visit and see inside, you actually have to get an appointment at the Visitor Center. So we're probably going to do that tomorrow morning because I really want to go inside. Here's a close-up of the George Washington statue in front of the Independence Hall.
Liberty Bell.
Yeah, the entrance is all the way to the other side. They have all these displays here with the history of the bell as a symbol of liberty. From the time when it used to be atop the Independence Hall and how it got cracked, the current visible crack, actually, it's part of a repair job. I didn't know that.
1776, an eager crowd gathered there to hear John Nixon give the first public reading of the Declaration of Independence.
There it is, towards the end. Actually, I am really glad we came early. And there are not too many people because this is a very popular tourist attraction.
Here we have, of course, the Liberty Bell. Liberty Bell and the Liberty.
Well, that was really cool to see. One of the many things we want to see here in Philadelphia, which so far, I like it a lot, especially this part of the city with the very nice architecture, some old, some not so old. This here is Washington Square, and let's check it out. This was one of the original 5 squares envisioned by the city founder William Penn. Here's the bicentennial moon tree, planted from one of many seeds that made a round trip to the moon aboard Apollo 14. It actually looks kind of sad. Maybe it's the low gravity experienced by the seed. The park also served as a burial ground for many, many years, and nowadays it is just this pleasant square enjoyed by tourists and locals alike. Now we are approaching the tomb of the unknown Revolutionary War soldier, erected in 1954. After they removed all the Civil War monuments because they wanted to focus on the Revolutionary War. Check out those Illuminati-looking reliefs on that building.
So this whole park is a grave, basically.
Here's the monument from the back, and I don't know if you've noticed, but we haven't had breakfast yet, and my stomach is starting to growl, and that looks like a nice place.
kitchen.
We get some coffee.
Right here in front of Washington Square.
And frittatas, very nice. Rob Nestore, a South Philly native and longtime viewer, has been texting me because he wants to show me the real Philly, where he grew up. So we are going to meet up in a little bit, but first I want to explore all this historic area and the Independence Visitor Center. This is actually where you get the tickets for the Independence Hall, and they have a gentleman playing the dulcimer.
Thank you. Quite a compliment.
Look what we have here.
I guess nowadays Rocky is as famous in this town as Old Ben himself. There it is, once again, across the park, the Independence Hall. And the National Constitution Center, which is an interactive museum of the history that transpired here. We continue to the Christ Church Burial Ground, final resting place of Benjamin Franklin.
$3 per person. The map is an extra $1. And they also offer guided tours.
We're just going to walk around a little bit, explore the old cemetery. There's Francis Hopkinson, signer of the Declaration of Independence and designer of the first American flag. But of course, he's not the only important person interred here. I bet you most of these worn-out gravestones have a place in history.
Let's go visit Ben.
Yes, this is the final resting place of Benjamin Franklin himself. And here's an epitaph written by Benjamin as a young man. It is a small yet beautiful necropolis. And here he is again, this one made out of keys and pennies, thousands of them. He kind of looks like the guy in the $100 bill, doesn't he? And how would you change the world? It is always great to walk around, stumble upon things, the only way to truly see a city. And here we are at Betsy Ross' house. She is credited with making the first American flag. There is a museum, but another time perhaps.
Well, gentrification.
We are now at the heart of the area called Old City, the oldest and most historic part of Philadelphia, with all these narrow cobblestone streets, many dating back to colonial times.
Alfred's Alley.
Alfred's Alley here is the oldest continuously inhabited residential street in the whole United States, the oldest house dating back to 1702. By the way, these are all private residences, with two exceptions, two museums, and it looks like we arrived here right on time, as the hordes of tourists are coming in droves. Let's explore some of the more intricate nooks and crannies here. Look, for rent! I wonder how much it would cost to live here, surrounded by history.
1749. Yeah, it hasn't been cleaned since 1749. Stepping back in time.
Let's take a break, shall we, at this semicircular bench? Very, very picturesque. Let's continue towards Penn's Landing. By the way, lots of new residential apartments in this area. An interesting juxtaposition of the old and the new.
Penn's Landing, mira, that way.
Definitely a very photogenic area. Photographer's paradise for sure.
Should guy? No, maybe not.
That steeple there belongs to the Christ Church, very historic, actually linked to the burial grounds we saw earlier. It was originally founded in 1695, colonial times. And here we are. There is a recommended donation of $5 per person to enter, but it is totally voluntary. Penn's Landing here marks the spot on the Delaware River where William Penn, founder of the city, first arrived. There's the Benjamin Franklin Bridge that spans the Delaware River connecting Pennsylvania to New Jersey. It looks like they turned the old pier into a condominium, but hey, whatever works, right?
More gentrification.
The black SUV, that's Rob, who somehow tracked us down. You'll get to meet him soon. Super cool guy, but first, let's walk around Penn's Landing while he finds parking. Beautiful views of the Delaware River and the battleship New Jersey on the other side. Here's a Gazella, a wooden ship built in 1909, originally a commercial fishing vessel, and now it's just here cruising the Delaware River. Here they have this hockey rink. And here we have a very special ship. This is Cruiser Olympia, the oldest steel warship afloat in the world. And apparently they also rent you these swan-shaped pedal boats and paddle boards and all that good stuff.
And there he is.
There he is, I'm here. And you could go from Cape May.
Yes, Rob has all kinds of good suggestions for road trips along the eastern seaboard. Here's also Submarine Bacana. Really cool. I wish we had time to go inside.
So we bumped into Rob in a store here in Philadelphia. He said, you're Philadelphia native, right?
Yes, I am.
And you're going to show us around now. What are we going to see?
Today we're going to see South Philadelphia, where I grew up, the Italian market. And then we're also going to go around the art museum, where Rocky ran up the steps. Hopefully we're also going to get Robert to run down 9th Street like Rocky did in the movie.
We'll see about that. I'm a little out of shape. I'm a little out of shape right now, so... But anyways, let's explore a little bit of the real Philadelphia.
What I would call it is doing the whole East Coast from Myrtle Beach on up, hitting the coastline.
First, we're gonna go to this neighborhood called Northern Liberties, where there are a bunch of bars and restaurants. Seems to be a trendy area these days.
Jerry's Bar. You want to go to Jerry's Bar?
Well, here we are. Pretty cool bar, and we are having a very refreshing Cape May IPA. Well, yes, apparently lots of good places to eat around this area, thanks to some recent revitalization, I hear. Now we are heading to South Philly.
Right here, Radicchio. It's actually open. See this?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And that is the spot to go.
All right.
So if you ever come to Philadelphia, this is where the people go. Little corner place.
There's Jim's, a famous Philly cheesesteak joint, but that's not where we're going. We continue immersing ourselves into the traditionally Italian neighborhood in South Philly. The ice cream truck in front of us, a staple here in this area called Mr. Softy. There's John's Water Ice, another local delicacy. Apparently thicker than a slushy but thinner than a snow cone, and definitely not an Italian ice, according to the Urban Dictionary anyways. We are approaching now the famous Italian market. Isgro Pasticceria, they're supposed to have the best pastries in all South Philly. And cannoli, of course. Fresh handmade ravioli. This house, coming up here to the right, used to belong to Angelo Bruno, boss of the Philadelphia crime family for 2 decades, until his assassination in 1980. Right there, in front of his house. As you see, pretty normal house, nothing too extravagant. Well, my stomach is growling, so I think we should go get some Philly cheesesteaks. Apparently, Pat's invented it and Gino perfected it. And according to Rob, Gino's is a bit cleaner. In any case, the secret ingredient is apparently the bread. Can't wait to get there.
Mamma Maria. Ristorante italiano.
You know what? I gotta figure out how to get on that YouTube video.
Yeah, hello there.
Okay, this is the beginning of the Italian market.
There's Pat's, as I said, allegedly the birthplace of the cheesesteak, but I think we're going to Gino's instead.
It's a line, but doesn't seem
No,
to
that-
be-
that'll move
there's
fast.
Gino's.
You could actually park here if you wanted to. We're gonna park right there.
Isn't that something that both competing joints are facing each other? Probably a good idea to sample both, actually. By the way, traffic is terrible. But Rob knows what he's doing. We found parking.
Now we're gonna get a Philly cheesesteak, which my friend Rob's here says, what is it called? Wit.
Gino, melted wit.
Melted wit. That's what they call it here. So we're gonna get a melted wit at Gino's. Cool.
We got a standing line, but it's not too bad.
How do you like it? Whiz wit?
Whiz wit.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 whiz wits.
3 whiz wit. This is mushroom pepper.
3 whiz wit. He's in Florida, so he don't get the good bread. He's filming for his TV show, Traveling Robber.
Right.
$30. That sounds good.
Let's go to Rob's secret place here.
My secret place. Can I just get through? Okay, my secret place is taken.
Philly cheesesteak. Melted wit.
See, this is where I go for Philly cheesesteaks, Gino's.
That tastes really good.
When the little martini, when Mini Martini can't make it, when it comes to Philadelphia, we park it and then we go in the Denali.
The Denali.
Rob's Denali.
Yeah. So where are we going?
We're
Italian
going
market.
This is the Italian market. If you want to run up 9th Street, we can film you. You want me to film you?
No, it's okay.
You sure?
Okay, so this is the street where Rocky Balboa was running in the movie. Maybe I should do it. I don't know. After that Philly cheesesteak, I mean cheesesteak, no, melted with. I don't know if I can do it, but we'll see.
Whiz-wit.
Whiz-wit.
And here we are now at the Italian market. All kinds of produce and meat, cheese, seafood. The combination of smells, deliciously overwhelming. Sausages.
That's probably the real stuff too.
How you gonna put that? For the martini, don't you? A little pet, right?
Let's get some cheese.
Right? And they have all different types of cheese.
I mean, we make it all here in
I know.
Try this grande.
Here's Rolf's, America's oldest Italian restaurant, established in 1900. And the Sarcon's Bakery, this year, 2018, celebrating its 100th anniversary. 100 years in business throughout 5 generations. They're actually closing down, but the owner is Rob's friend, and he was nice enough to show me the 100-year-old ovens in the back.
That's all stale bread.
So what bread is that?
Stale bread so I can make bread.
Breadcrumbs and throwing it like me.
Yeah.
So these are the ovens.
So this is the world famous bakery, Sarcon's. We've been all over Philly
Yeah.
today. Cool. Teach me. Now what do we say?
I'm Robert.
Tell them what we say. Like,
Cuz.
Well, he's learning.
Yeah.
He's learning.
I'm learning the language.
Yo,
Yeah.
cuz, what are you doing, man? What are you doing today?
This is great. This is where the magic happens back here.
Yeah, this is
Magic
2
happens.
buildings. It's 756, 758. My grandfather broke through about 100 years ago. We started out one building over here in our basement. Our oven's in the basement.
Right.
We came up here in the early.
basement?
There's an oven down in the basement. Yeah, it's underneath the floor, underneath these ovens. It's like Moonstruck. Give me 5
General
minutes, I'll put it
Oven
back.
Company, New York. Look at that. You know how old that is?
That's
This is so cool. I never saw
awesome in there. All right, that was really cool.
Careful.
All right, thank you.
So give me 2 pounds.
Okay, we are kind of tired. So we're gonna go back to the RV, take a break, and then go out again. By the way, I really want to thank Rob Nestore for showing me around Philly. This was truly a unique experience.
We have new neighbors.
Okay, we took a break and now we're going out again. This time we're taking an Uber to save some time.
Well, we're here by the Museum of Art. And look at the line to take a picture with the statue of Rocky Balboa.
Well, we couldn't come to Philly and not do the Rocky Steps, right? So that's what we are going to do next, along with all the other tourists who came here to do the same thing.
Da 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 da. I'm a little out of shape. Da da da. We made it. I might not be Rocky Balboa, but I also did make it here to the top of the Rocky Steps, right here at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. And this is the view from up here. Great view of Philly.
Now I'm tempted to walk on the Benjamin Franklin Parkway here all the way to City Hall and Center City. But first, let's check this out here. Cool pediment depicting 13 figures of the classical mythology, Zeus at the middle. Actually, I think most people come here just for the rocky steps, very few to actually see the museum, which is probably pretty good, but we're just here for the steps today. Very nice view of the Philadelphia skyline from here, which has changed quite a bit since the Rocky movie was filmed in 1976.
Okay, did that. Let's go back down and continue exploring Philly. It's much easier on the way down. Oh, that Philly cheesesteak. Oh, here you go. It's a thing to do the rocky steps. Let's get a softie. Even the one in Finland was cheaper than this. $4 for a softie. Oh well, you're in front of the museum, right? North America.
There is an outdoor concert happening, although no one seems to be listening. And apparently this weekend they are holding a rock and roll marathon here. That's why they have all these barricades. And this here is the Washington Monument Fountain. The actual equestrian sculpture of George Washington dates back to 1897, although it was moved here in 1928, after they completed the Parkway and the E. King's Oval here. At the bottom they have sculptures of Native Americans and animals native to the United States. I think it is a beautiful monument here. Check out the moon. Kind of looks like the Death Star, don't you think? Well, the idea is to walk on the Parkway here all the way to the other end.
The Rodin Museum.
Yes, that's another museum I would have liked to visit. I missed the one in Paris a couple of years ago, and it looks like we're going to miss this one too. One day in Philly is just not enough.
We got all the flags.
The Parkway was originally designed to look like the Champs-Élysées in Paris, and it is nowadays lined up with flags from all the different countries. There's a City Hall at the other end of the Parkway.
That's where we were.
By the way, this area is considered the cultural heart of Philadelphia, beginning at the Art Museum, where we were, ending with City Hall, with several other museums in between. Here's the Ben Franklin Institute and the World War I era memorial here in Aviator Park. Here, the Academy of Natural Sciences, which is like a natural history museum. In a few minutes, we are going to see the Love Park, but here they have the Amor. Spanish version, perhaps? Lots of street art here in Philly. This is what's called the Love Park. It seems to be a very nice place just to chill on a nice weather day like this one. If you recall, it was sunny this morning, then it got cloudy, and now it is sunny again. Check out all the flags lining up the Parkway. Ben Franklin Parkway. This park is actually famous for the love sign, which is actually supposed to be a well-known sculpture by pop artist Robert Indiana, and the stereotype is true. We Americans will line up for anything. This is actually a beautiful part of Philly here, for sure. It has that European vibe, I guess. And this is City Hall, with the statue of William Penn atop the clock tower.
It is 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
All of a sudden, we find ourselves in Center City. And you know what we're gonna do, right? We're going to see the city from above. Here's the One Liberty observation deck, located on the 57th floor of the One Liberty Place. It is $14.50 for adults. Not bad compared to similar observation decks in other cities.
$9 for both.
Ooh, these LEDs are really playing tricks on my camera.
Our friend Ben.
They have a video presentation as you go up the elevator, although it looks kind of dated nowadays compared to more modern, more extravagant, much taller, and much more expensive observation decks. Oh wait, I'm getting ahead of myself here. That would be on the next video. And surprise! Here's Ben once again. The views from the top are actually quite spectacular. There's the Ben Franklin Bridge spanning the Delaware River. To Liberty Place next door. There's that vast, somewhat flat area called South Philly, where we were earlier today actually. They have these very cool interactive touch screens that show you what you're looking at. But there's not a whole lot other than that. And some vending machines. A cafe or a bar would have been nice actually. That's Penn's Landing, somewhere down there. And we are parked actually somewhere down there by that industrial area. Well, that was fun. We exit through the mall. Let's call an Uber and get back to the RV park. We've walked several miles today, and tomorrow we want to do one more thing before we go. We want to go to the Independence Hall again, and go inside this time. Yep, we were all the way up there.
morning.
A little foggy this morning in Philly.
Well, it is another beautiful day here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We're gonna do a little bit more of exploring. Maybe walk all the way to Penn's Landing, see the Independence Hall, and then off we go towards New York. Beautiful day, by the way. We couldn't have asked for better weather. You know, it's low 70s, sunny.
First thing we did this morning was to get our tickets for Independence Hall. So we have about an hour and a half to kill. We're going to do Penn's Landing, see what's going on. It was so lively yesterday. As lively as this place was yesterday, today, crickets. There's very few people here. Just a few other confused tourists like ourselves, perhaps. Perhaps it is too early. Oh well, epic fail. Everything seems to be closed on a Sunday morning, so take note of that. Let's head back to Independence Hall, and maybe we can kill some more time in that area. And back here we are, still about half an hour to kill, so let's go into the Red Owl, right across the street.
Came to the Red Owl Tower. Well, we'll wait for our ticket.
Something to nibble on? Actually, that was a pretty cool bar. We might return after the tour. Here we are, ready for our tour of Independence Hall, which is free, by the way.
We gotta wait 10 more minutes, so just...
First, we go into this room where we're going to learn about all the history that transpired within these walls. Next, we're gonna go into the main building, and here we're going to see two main rooms, two main chambers, the Supreme Court and the Assembly Room. I've really been looking forward to this.
To the right, guys. Watch your step. To the right. Put the little people up front.
Here we are, the Supreme Court room, and the very knowledgeable park ranger tells us a little bit about our judicial system with a very cool anecdotes and a touch of humor. His remarks actually greatly enhance this experience.
Whose emblem is it? The king. You fool with it, you're guilty. Treason. You shall hang by the neck until you are dead.
Next, we go into the Assembly Room, where two major historic events happened, the Declaration of Independence and the drafting and signing of the Constitution. All that after the First and Second Continental Congresses, in which they agreed and disagreed on many things. He describes where everybody was sitting and what they argued about, making it so interesting. It is a great experience being here where the nation was born.
And over again. The rights of self-government. Folks, it's about home rule. Now, sadly, the British are not affording us this right. To get it, it's a war of American independence. It cost this nation dearly. You gotta thank me, of course. I appreciate it. It's incorrect, but it's the effort that I'm going. Folks, go ahead.
Actually, in 1948, they decided to restore all this as it would have looked in the 18th century, and it's all now managed by the National Park Service.
Well, that was a great tour, very informative, and it's great to be here, the birthplace of where everything happened.
Well, for someone like me, not born in the United States, this was actually a bucket list destination. It symbolizes the birthplace of a land of liberty and opportunity, and I feel it is a great privilege to live here and be able to call it home.
We're going to say goodbye to Philadelphia, although I would love to come back. Great town.
Yes, unfortunately, our time here in Philadelphia is coming to an end. Our next destination, another unlikely place to visit with an RV. Well, we are leaving Philadelphia, heading towards New York City. It should be about 2 hours, but I've decided to avoid the New Jersey Turnpike, which can get expensive with our 4 axles, so I've selected avoid tolls on the GPS. And let's see if we can make it a stress-free drive. After a while on the 295, we hop onto US 1, and eventually the Garden State Parkway. It does get a little complicated as we approach Jersey City, making it a little bit of a stressful drive, but that was to be expected, right? On the other hand, we see the Manhattan skyline in the distance, and that's always satisfying. It is a little bit of a hot mess here on Communipaw Avenue. The toll road would have taken us on I-78, probably a little better, but then again we would have missed seeing all this west side of Jersey City. Here we turn onto Grand Street, heading towards downtown Jersey City. We are almost there. Well, here we are, Liberty Harbor Marina and RV Park. Just like the one back in Philly, we have water and electric only, but at least here we have a slightly better view. Here we are, we made it to Liberty Harbor RV Park, and as you can see, it's not much more than a parking lot, but we are right there. Let me show you, New York is right behind these RVs. Yes, in this RV park, the most important amenity is location. Just a few blocks away from the PATH train station, and the ferry terminal is right here. But we're hungry, so we're going to check out Surf City here first. We've got perfect weather here today. Here we have our burger. Looks pretty good. And there it is, One World Trade Center. Such a beautiful afternoon here as we walk towards the PATH train station. Well, we just had burgers at the Surf City, and now we're gonna try to go to New York. Apparently the ferry only runs Monday through Friday, which is something we didn't know, but now we do. By the way, today is Sunday. Steakhouse, which is not open. It is getting dark, and we're still kind of tired from the trip, so I don't think we're going to spend a whole lot of time in the city tonight, which is a little bit of a bummer because tomorrow is supposed to rain. Anyways, let's catch a train, shall we? We're taking the train here at the Grove Street station, and it is going to be a short ride. Just one more station here on the Jersey side called Exchange Place, and then we go under the Hudson, and we emerge at the new World Trade Center station in Manhattan. A little disoriented here, but eventually we get our bearings.
By the way, we took the train called the Path. It's a $2.75 one-way ticket, which might sound a little steep for just 2 stops, but it is the way it is. Beautiful station here.
This massive, iconic structure here is called the Oculus, and it was designed by Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava.
A little overwhelming, the amount of people all of a sudden, but and it's only a Sunday, so it should be cool.
Now that I think about it, it isn't even that crowded, but yes, New York can be a little overwhelming when you first arrive, although you get used to it. Pretty quickly, actually. Check it out, Spider-Man, 2 of them. There it is, through the skylight, One World Trade Center.
Well, definitely looks like something Johnny Ive would have designed this station. You know Johnny Ive, the guy who designed the iPhone and all the Apple stuff. It's very pretty. It's also like being inside a whale or something. Very cool. I wasn't expecting this. Well, we're gonna exit through Church Street. Now we just have to make sure that we enter through Church Street as well, otherwise we'll never find it. I'm sure we will. Well, we're in New York.
Well, yeah, this city is unmistakable, although it has changed a bit since the last time we were here. That building wasn't there, for example. The last time we were here, I think that was December 2012. One World was still under construction back then. This here is the site of the yet-to-be-built 2 World Trade Center. In the meantime, it is this sort of public art thing here. Here's the station from another perspective. And here's the 9/11 Memorial, the site where one of the Twin Towers stood. Now, a hole on the ground in the form of a fountain, with the names of those who died engraved all around it. Here's the new building, One World Trade Center. Lots of security measures around here to protect this area. And very busy airspace as well here in Lower Manhattan. And we almost did go to the observation deck today, but the walk-in price of admission is over $40 after taxes, and we are tired. We're going to come back tomorrow morning for sure. Let's head back to Liberty Harbor.
It is a pretty impressive structure, if you ask me. Let's get a train.
Yeah, I think we came out through the wrong exit.
Okay, let's find our way back to the campground.
Oh, walking back to the RV park. Check it out. It's Lady Liberty herself.
By the way, it is a little bit of a walk from the RV park to the, it's called Grove Street Station. It's the PATH train that goes into Manhattan. But it even though it's a little solitary, it feels very safe actually to be walking this on a Sunday night. It's what, 8 p.m. right now. We were gonna linger a little more in Manhattan, but we're kind of tired, so we're gonna call it a night and and we'll spend the whole day tomorrow in Manhattan. How about that? Good night. There's a trend, and it's still kind of our favorite, huh? There's the dump station, and the tent area, and the bathrooms are here. Here's the laundry facility, very nice. And there is a gym. We forgot the code or the key, I guess it's closed. But
Well, today it is Monday, so we're going to take the ferry to Manhattan.
here we are. Let's see how the ferry works here.
I think we're gonna stay here in the aft section since it is the only outdoor area where we can see the view. Unfortunately, it is kind of cloudy this morning. Actually, I see a little bit of blue sky, so there is hope. There, the historic New Jersey train terminal, Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty. And the Colgate clock. One thing has me worried. The top of One World is covered in clouds, which means there's no visibility from the top. Perhaps we should have gone last night after all. Little bit of trivia here, a smaller, earlier version of the Colgate clock was moved to Clarksville, Indiana, and can be seen from Louisville across the river. I saw it earlier this year when I visited my family who lives in the area. Here we see once again Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty. It was a great idea to take the ferry, which by the way is just a commuter ferry, nothing touristy about it. $8 one way, and it is going to drop us off here at the Pier 11 Wall Street terminal. We're not going to visit Lady Liberty on this particular trip, but we will one of these days. Here we see Governor's Island, and in the distance, that's the Verrazano Narrows Bridge that connects the boroughs of Brooklyn and Staten Island. Here we are at the Financial District, this older area of Manhattan, of narrow streets and tall skyscrapers. Trust me, the skyscraper is there. Maybe it is time for a high dynamic range camera. Here we are, walking on Wall Street, which, as we approach the New York Stock Exchange, it becomes pedestrian. The neoclassical building here is the Federal Hall, where George Washington was inaugurated and the Bill of Rights was written. And across the street, well, there it is, the New York Stock Exchange. Don't forget to tag them on Instagram. Seriously. Looking back at the Federal Hall one more time, as the sign says, the birthplace of American democracy. And let's continue walking. It is noisy, by the way, but there is so much we want to see here. But first, a quick breakfast at this random place here called Cozy Bread.
That's where we had breakfast. Let's continue.
He still got it, so it's not like no.
Lots of security barricades all around the stock exchange, and all the security theater perhaps one of the longer-lasting unintended effects of the 9/11 attacks. Here we are approaching the Charging Bull, placed here in 1989, perhaps one of the main tourist attractions here in the Financial District. I'm not even gonna try to take a picture because, as you can see, it is a zoo all around it. Actually, I think I'm starting to prefer it when people actually line up to take pictures at all these types of landmarks. The bull is, of course, the symbol of financial optimism and prosperity. The newer statue of the fearless girl was placed here in 2017 to promote gender diversity. Apparently, it is supposed to be brave, proud, and strong, but not defiant or belligerent. Anyways, the Bulls sculptor Arturo Di Modica was not very happy about the addition of the girl to his iconic sculpture because, according to him, it corrupts its artistic integrity by distorting the intent of the statue from a symbol of prosperity and strength into a villain. Oh, bummer. Still can't see the top of the One World Trade Center, but it looks like the fog might be clearing up. Here's the Trinity Church of the Episcopal denomination. Very historic. George Washington used to worship here, although the current building was finished in 1846. It was also very important during the 9/11 attacks because people took refuge inside. The American Stock Exchange building here has been vacant since 2008 when it merged with the New York Stock Exchange. This here is Zuccotti Park as we make our way towards Ground Zero and the 9/11 Memorial. Here they have this 26-foot-high rose.
Oh, there it is, almost out of the clouds.
Here we are once again at the 9/11 Memorial, now during the day. Hard to fathom that this is where the Twin Towers once stood. Also, quite moving to see all the names engraved around the fountain. All clear. Now is the time. Here's the survivor tree, which was found in the wreckage and brought back to life. Let's go on to the One World Observatory. And the reason there is nobody here is that they were telling everybody at the entrance that there was zero visibility. I guess no one told them that the top had been clearing up. We enter through this dark cave-like hallway, making our way towards the elevators. Talking about the elevators, we are about to see a very cool video presentation here. 3 of the elevator walls are covered with screens showing how the city of New York evolved along the years. Very, very cool.
Yeah, that's how New York looked for years.
Welcome to One World Observatory.
At the top, we get treated to yet another video presentation. You can tell they spent a lot of money on this. Eventually, the screens lift, and the actual view is revealed before our eyes. Not quite zero visibility, but it is still a little hazy.
And now, we invite you to enter One World Observatory through the doors on your right, where a spectacular 360-degree view...
The elevator was really cool, but I think the rest is a little overdone. I guess they have to justify the price somehow. There's Mini Teeny. We can see it all the way from here, down there at Liberty Harbor. Here's looking north on the Hudson River. And here they have this very gimmicky screen looking down, as if it is supposed to make me feel vertigo or something. Busy airspace as ever. And there's the ferry we took this morning. The Jersey side, again, which happens to be the clearest one weather-wise so far. Brooklyn, still kind of invisible. we decide to go for a local IPA while Midtown clears up. Well, for a brand new building, this is kind of unacceptable. Craftsmanship is not what it used to be for sure. Visibility is getting better. We can even see the Empire State Building now. Now looking towards Chinatown and the Lower East Side, the Manhattan and Brooklyn bridges. There is the Washington Square Arch, which marks the end of Fifth Avenue. We would love to linger up here all day, get our money's worth, especially now that visibility is getting so much better. There's the Verrazano Narrows Bridge again in the distance.
Okay, one last look at Lady Liberty before we go down.
The 270-degree presentation on the way down makes you a little dizzy at the beginning, but it's also really good.
Thank you for visiting One World Observatory.
Pretty cool. Alright, let's do it.
We wanted to go to the 9/11 museum. I've heard great things about it, but the line seems to be pretty long. I've also heard it's kind of a downer, as it should be. It was horrible what happened here. They say the line goes pretty fast, but still, I think we're going to do this some other time.
Well, this here is the 9/11 museum, and I really wanted to check it out. They say it's really moving, really well made, but there's a little bit of a line, so we're gonna save this for the next time. Let's walk around New York a little bit.
A very nice couple back at the RV park this morning. They were leaving and they had 2 Metro cards with like 5 trips each, so they were nice enough to give them to us. I'm telling you, fellow RVers are the best. So we are going to use them and take the subway a few blocks north into the Chelsea neighborhood because we want to walk on the High Line, which is this linear park built on what used to be an elevated railroad track. Should be cool. By the way, I can never get tired of this station. I think it's so beautiful. We are going to take line 1 towards Uptown, and our train is here. We got off at 14th Street, which is near the southern end of the High Line, and actually is Chelsea's southern boundary. This looks like the New York I remember seeing in the 1970s movies when I was growing up. Kind of dirty and worn out, somewhat intimidating. It looks like we started walking the wrong way, but now we are on the right track. Walking west. Walking to the west. I have great orientation when I travel above ground, but the subway seems utterly confusing. Perhaps because we are not used to it. Well, here we are, the High Line. You can still see the railroad tracks in some areas.
Nice view of all the construction happening. Nice condos.
Very nice area for people to hang out, get away from the hustle and bustle a little bit.
You can get your feet wet in there.
Over here they have this area with a cafe and some vendors, ice cream and that kind of stuff. Interesting. Once in a while you encounter one of these observation decks where you can sit down and observe the city as if it was a play transpiring before your very eyes. The High Line here, by the way, almost 2 miles long. Its construction began in 2006 and the final phase opened to the public in 2014. It was in part inspired by Promenade Plantée in Paris, completed in 1993, which also involved repurposing an old elevated track into an urban park. There is, of course, New York's most famous building, the Empire State. Lots of modern architecture, along with the old types actually. Quite a few murals and street art along the way as well. Well, nothing like having an apartment right next to the High Line, right? To get your point across to thousands of people. It is actually getting pretty crowded now. There's the Chrysler building, of course. Home improvement, perhaps? By the way, those condos are probably worth several millions of dollars.
Continue exploring New York here, the island of Manhattan. And if you want to see Times Square, wrong video, we're not going to go there today. We're just going to do whatever we haven't done in the city. And the High Line was one of the things we had not done yet. And it's really cool. We really liked it.
This is so quintessentially New York, isn't it? Here we see what seem to be the original train tracks. By the way, this is the newest section, the one that just opened in 2014. And all these trains here at the 34th Street Hudson Yards subway station, I think.
And this is the end of the High Line.
We stop at this Irish pub called McGarry's for a refreshing IPA. Then we continue, wandering on 34th Street, going towards Broadway. There's Penn Station as we continue walking east. New York is certainly unique, isn't it? Ooh, looks nice up there. As we approach 7th Avenue, here's Macy's, the flagship store, first opened in 1902. Here's the entrance. Now approaching Broadway. Wow, so many people. And I kind of lied unintentionally about not showing you Times Square. You can kind of see it in the distance. We are going to continue south here on Broadway, and there it is, One World Trade Center. I've always wanted to walk the streets of New York like this, without any particular destination in mind, and just absorb the multi-sensory experience that this city provides. Yes, it is crazy. It is noisy. It can be dirty. Sometimes it smells really good, sometimes it doesn't. Yet, it's gotta be the greatest city in the world in its own way. It is a place where you can find anything. Hear virtually every language in the globe, and see peoples of all races, all backgrounds, all religions, all professions, flowing together, yet apart, like some sort of human river. And in a certain crazy way, it all seems to work. And after the initial sensory overload, you kind of tune out the noise and become one with it. New York is undoubtedly the capital of the world. By the way, we're going to take another break here by Madison Square and have some wine with a view of the Flatiron. Seems appropriate. Fellow vlogger perhaps?
Roberta's got an honest-to-God smoker here. Let's continue exploring New York City.
By the way, this is called Madison Square Park.
Here in New York. Well, hello there.
This here is the original location of Shake Shack, founded by renowned restaurateur Danny Meyer back in 2004. I am actually quite a fan of Mr. Meyer myself, since I read his book Setting the Table some years back when I had this wild idea of opening a restaurant. I am actually really glad I didn't, but anyways, it is a great book, and next we are going to one of his first restaurants called Gramercy Tavern. It will probably be pricey, but at this point it is almost like a pilgrimage coming here, since the book describes in detail how he opened this restaurant and the process of opening and managing a successful restaurant like this one. I mean, even the bread is great. We also had the slider from the bar menu and the duck meatballs, delicious, and the cheese plate, as we decided to linger and wait for Illy's nephew to get off work and hang out with him. We get to hang out in his apartment for a while, we get to spy on his neighbors, and then there's a rooftop. This has to be the highlight of the day. We can even see One World Trade Center from here.
Sing us a song, dear, the piano man. Sing us a song tonight. 'Cause we're all in the mood for a melody. And when you get us feeling alright.
What a great way to end our day here in New York, catching up at the rooftop until day turns into night. It is time for us to return to Liberty Harbor RV Park on the New Jersey side, because tomorrow the journey continues. Liberty Harbor here was about $107 a night, which is a little on the high end as far as RV parks go, but hey, you're minutes away from Manhattan. So if you want to visit New York with an RV, it is certainly the way to go. Today the weather is not cooperating, and driving in this area here around Jersey City with a big rig, not for the faint of heart. I don't know why the GPS keeps taking me through these narrow streets. Maybe because I selected avoid tolls? Anyways, today we are going to do a little more traditional camping, as we're going to explore the great state of Maine. Just scratching the surface though. Because of my breakdown in North Carolina, the trip has been severely cut short. In any case, first we have to get there, and it's gonna be a long and tedious drive. I waited until we reached New York to put gas. Somehow, I don't feel comfortable having someone else pumping my gas. New Jersey, and to some extent Oregon, are still the only two states where you are not allowed to pump your own gas, because apparently the operation requires a highly trained professional.
Well, it looks like Florence finally caught up with us. The rain is relentless. I mean, I haven't driven in this heavy rain for this long in a long time. We're gonna stop at the Connecticut state line and reassess our travel plans, because this is not fun.
I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, and 'cause I'm free in my RV.
Welcome to Connecticut.
Here we are, Connecticut, a new state for us. So let's go into the Welcome Center, get a map maybe, and cook some lunch. Oh, it is starting to rain again.
Oh no, it's closed.
I guess it is time for a Traveling Robert RV cooking show. We begin by chopping some onions. We saute them and put some salt. I also got this red pepper. We add some dry golden wine, a staple in Cuban cuisine, by the way. Some frozen meatballs, and I think I forgot to show you when I added the tomato sauce. And for some reason, with this Atwood range, things take forever to boil.
Paprika. Lots of paprika. A little more pepper, black pepper. Since we don't have any real garlic, we're gonna put a little bit of garlic powder. And of course my signature ingredients, oregano and cumin. As soon as this begins to boil. It's not the most powerful stove, I'll tell you that.
Well, the penne never properly boiled, but we'll see.
Bon appetit. And this Rainy day.
The rain is relentless, and these are, as I said, remnants of Hurricane Florence that finally caught up to us. And there is heavy traffic, of course, because all this bad weather usually provokes accidents. Yeah, it is a mess out here. And there's the cause of all this traffic, hopefully nothing major. Very serious about lane usage here in Connecticut. And this is Waterbury, Connecticut. The church is St. Anne's, a historic building here. Unfortunately, we can't stop anywhere if we want to make it to Maine today. About half an hour later, we are driving through Hartford, Connecticut's capital. And there's the Capitol building. The Capitol building does have a castle vibe to it, doesn't it? Aside from the golden cupola. Boston and Providence. Can't wait to visit both in a couple of days. And we are now in Massachusetts, and all of a sudden the sun came out, and we see incipient fall colors here in mid-September.
Welcome to New Hampshire.
Yes, eventually we make it to the live free or die state, and I see an opportunity to take a picture with the sign, so that's exactly what we're going to do. New Hampshire is only about 20 miles wide around here, so very soon we are going to be in Maine. As soon as we cross the Piscataqua River, we are in Maine.
Welcome to Maine.
Let's take a picture here too. And here we are, our campground for tonight here near Portland, Maine. It is called Wild Duck Adult Campground and RV Park. Okay, let's park it and go have dinner. I hear they have pretty good lobster around here. It was a dark and a foggy night in Maine. Anyways, I had this place here marked on my map called Lobster Shack at Two Lights here in Cape Elizabeth. So let's see how it is. Let's check it out. Here are the live lobsters and our lobster rolls. Let's just say I wasn't all that impressed. Let's walk outside here to this area by the water. I bet you during the day there is a very nice view here. And perhaps it is one of those places more famous for the view than the food. Perhaps it is late and they were about to close. We'll never know. Let's go into Portland real quick to get some groceries, and tomorrow we'll continue exploring. There is a Trader Joe's here in town.
We made it to Maine finally. I've been really looking forward to this. So I believe we have some stickers to add to our map here in the northeast area. First and foremost, a couple of days ago I forgot to add Pennsylvania as we were in Philadelphia, so let's do that. Okay, with Connecticut, I'm kind of gonna cheat because we didn't do anything in Connecticut, but we ate at the Welcome Center, so I don't know if that counts, but I'm gonna add the sticker because why not? And we saw the capital, Hartford, from the road. Okay, there we've got Connecticut, and now, since we're here, we're gonna add Maine. Here we go. Now, in a couple of days here, we're gonna add Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and unfortunately on this trip, we're not gonna be able to add Vermont or New Hampshire, or Maryland or Delaware for that matter, and those states were in the original plan, but as you know, if you've seen the previous videos, this trip got cut really short. Anyways, we're tired. I think tomorrow we're gonna go to Acadia National Park.
Well, good morning. We're at the Wild Duck campground here near Portland, Maine. And I'm still half asleep. But it's beautiful out here. We're staying at this place. It's called the Wild Duck Adult Campground, which basically means it's only adults, no children here. And this is the furthest north Minitini the trailer has ever made it. We only have time for one thing here in the Portland area, so we are going to go see the lighthouse. And why the rush, you might ask? Well, now that I've driven all the way up here, I want to see Bar Harbor and Acadia National Park. You know, I have to return Big White, the monster truck, in about a week in Miami, and we still have to go to Boston after this. So let's just see the lighthouse, hitch up, and continue the journey north. Anyways, here we are, the Portland Head Lighthouse. The views here are starting to look promising, so let's find parking.
My RV.
Fort Williams Park.
We get our first look at the rugged Maine coastline here. And the lighthouse, of course. The lighthouse here, still operational by the way, dates back to 1791, making it the oldest one in the whole state of Maine. The other lighthouse, called the Ram Island Ledge Light Station, marks the northern end of the main channel. The main channel leading to Portland's harbor. And here's Portland's Head again. Let's walk around a little bit. I am assuming that is part of Portland over there in the distance. If you notice, everybody's wearing jackets. It is kind of chilly up here, our first taste of the upcoming fall. Are these the foghorns? Pretty cool. Time's up. If you ever come to this campground, beware, there's a really deep bump on the road. It looks like the leaves are about to start turning in this area. Eventually, by the town of Gardiner, we get off the interstate in favor of more secondary roads, and also in order to avoid tolls. It is a little bit of a roller coaster ride the rest of the way. A little more fun than the interstate, if a little tiresome after a while. Here's Belfast, Maine. Let's drive around to see what it looks like before we continue. As we leave Belfast, Maine, it is time to take a break. And there is a state park nearby called Moose Point. And I don't know how much it is, but we're gonna stop there anyways for an hour or so. $4 per person for non-Maine residents, so $8 for us. A little steep for just an hour, but I need a break. Here we are, Upper Penobscot Bay. Someone's been getting artistic with all these rocks here. A very pretty, very different landscape up here in Maine. See how Minitini is sort of off level? This truck is just too high, even adjusting the hitch to its lowest setting. But you know what? It is all I've got for now. Nice oceanfront property, huh? Well, took my break. It is time to continue. We're about to cross the iconic Penobscot Narrows Bridge. One of the towers even has an observatory at the top. Rainy weather up ahead. Must be getting close. Lots of traffic, lots of places selling lobster. Here's our campground, Mount Desert, which is pretty rustic. In fact, they don't even allow RVs over 20 feet long. Let's find our site and rest, because tomorrow we're going to wake up way before dawn to try and see the first sunrise in the United States from Cadillac Mountain in Acadia National Park. Well, here we are at our campground, very close to Acadia National Park. We got some wood. Very nice. It is around 3 a.m. and it's really dark out here. Why have we woken up at this ungodly hour, you might ask? Well, as I said, we want to drive to the top of Cadillac Mountain to see the first, well, allegedly the first sunrise in the United States. Its high altitude here in the Northeast makes it a prime location for this. And I think we came too early. By the way, the reason we came so early is I hear the parking lot usually gets full, and when that happens, they don't let you come to the top of the mountain. The outlook looks grim with all this fog, but let me walk around and see what we're up against. Beautiful view, huh? I really feel sorry for this guy with the tripod and the nice camera. And all of us, really, who woke up early. I mean, it's beautiful fog, and it's really eerie, but it's just not what we came to see, right? Sad part is everybody woke up early. No one is gonna be able to see anything. I don't think. Sunrise is imminent. Let me go back. I'll be honest, it does not look promising. But, you know, sunrise is supposed to be like in 5 minutes. Maybe all those clouds will lift up and we'll be able to see it, but as I said, does not look promising. I'm still gonna play my sunrise music because why not? Oh well, that was an epic fail. The sun should be coming up right now, and well, maybe we'll come back later. Maybe we'll come back tomorrow morning. You know, we're still here, so it's cold. Well, I think we should go. Okay, so far Maine is an interesting state with all these cool looking rocks, but I don't know. Mother Nature is not cooperating. Wait a minute, I see something here on the right, some islands perhaps, and it looks like the fog is starting to clear up a little. Maybe this is the view everybody talks about. Yay, found parking! Here's the famous view of the Mount Desert Narrows with all the islands, well, at least 50% of it, as the fog begins to lift. And there's Big White. Here we are, Bar Harbor. Let's walk around and look for some breakfast or brunch, preferably with some lobster in it. Greetings from Bar Harbor, Maine. Well, here we are, very picturesque town so far. Check out this fountain here at Agamont Park. Some mimosas here to start at this place. And a lobster Benedict sandwich. It is called Stadium Pub and it was outstanding. The Ivy Manor Inn. The town seems to be slowly waking up. We're gonna pass by the National Park office because Acadia is so fragmented that it is impossible for them to have a gate at the entrance to charge admission. So what you do is you buy a pass here for your vehicle at the office here in Bar Harbor, and if you have the America the Beautiful annual pass like we do, they just give you a holder that you hang on your rear view mirror and you put your card in there and you're good to go. This here is the Bar Island Path, only accessible during low tide, which obviously it's not now, and you can actually walk to that island. Maybe we'll come back later when it is low tide, compare. By the way, very touristy around here with a bunch of boats where you can go whale watching and all that stuff. Well, let's go explore Acadia National Park. There is supposed to be this park loop road. This is the Otter Cliff Overlook. Initially, I thought that was like a whale or some other large animal, but apparently it's just something underwater like rocks that break the waves. Very interesting granite rock formations everywhere. There's a small trail here where you can experience all this. Actually, it is part of a much longer trail called the Ocean Path. Okay, let me go back. I don't think I want to do the whole trail today, although it is tempting. It is very beautiful out here for sure, and I just can't get over those layered rocks. When I get old, I want to be like that. Let's go back up. Anyways, let's continue towards the next outlook point. Check out the small fishing boat fighting the strong current. Otter Point. Otter Cliffs, short access. Once again, we see all these very interesting looking rocks here in Maine, all this eroded granite. The result of a long, continuous geological process. And check out all those birds. I'm going to walk a little bit here on the ocean path and admire the rugged landscape. We continue, but let's check this place out. It is called Otter Cove. It is very pretty out here. I wish I could see it when the leaves are turning. Perhaps next year. Here's looking towards the ocean. And here's looking towards the cove. And I also wish I could fly the drone around, but hey, as you probably know, it is forbidden to fly in any national park. We stop once again to admire the rugged coastline. Okay, one last stop.
Yet another overlook.
We're gonna go back to the campground, take a break, and then we'll continue exploring. Well, we stop one last time here to see Eagle Lake. Wait a minute, why are we leaving, you might ask? Well, when we arrived, there was a note on our picnic table, so we went to the office and they told us that we had to move to a different site because this site was reserved for someone else, even though they had assigned me this site when we arrived yesterday. So I said, you know what? I want my money back. We are leaving. So we are. It would have been such a hassle to break camp and move around with this big truck in such a narrow road. Besides, we were leaving tomorrow anyways. Wait for it. Wait for it. Boom! I just broke my sewer cap. There was this root on the ground on the side of the road, and this big white truck doesn't have a wide enough turning radius, so I hit it. Let's head down to Boston. We will have to revisit Maine some other time because this time it wasn't so great, was it? There wasn't enough time for sure. The weather did not cooperate for sunrise, and the Mount Desert campground here really dropped the ball, and they weren't even apologetic about it. Next time I think we're staying at the KOA. What we missed? Well, in the afternoon I was planning on going back to Cadillac Mountain and go have a good lobster dinner, wait for low tide to walk on the Bar Island path. You know what? At least we got a taste of what is possible here, and we got to add yet another sticker to our map. Next time, we will probably allocate a whole week just to Maine, as I had originally intended. We're going to Boston, but we're still in Maine. Not for long though. Here we are, crossing into New Hampshire.
Welcome to New Hampshire.
This will not be a long stay because here we are now, Massachusetts. Let's go into the Welcome Center, get a map, and take a picture with this sign. You know I have to update my intro, right? Today we are visiting the Cradle of Liberty and possibly the United States' most historic city, Boston, Massachusetts. And there it is. We're driving over the Mystic River. Of course, like every major city, there is a lot of traffic, and I think we are about to hit the afternoon rush hour. Next, we go underground. This big tunnel here is known colloquially as the Big Dig. At the time, it was the most expensive highway project in the United States, and it was plagued by all kinds of problems, from water leaks to falling light fixtures. And we emerge on the other side, along with all the other thousands of people trying to leave Boston today at 3:30 p.m. Eventually, traffic begins to improve, and over an hour later, we begin to approach our campground near Plymouth. You didn't think we were going to park the RV in Boston, right? Actually, there were 3 main campgrounds to choose from. One to the northwest, in the woods, another one to the northeast by Salem, and this one on the south, called Ellis Haven. It is a shame we are basically here just to sleep because it looks pretty nice. Oh, here we are, Ellis Haven Campground, near Plymouth Rock, and that's exactly where we're going next. Yeah, it is kind of late to go back to Boston now. We'll do that tomorrow. Instead, let's check out the Plymouth Rock, which is really close, and get something to eat. We're famished. There it is on the right, the Greek-looking temple. That's where they have the Plymouth Rock. Let's park. Okay, we are in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And we are now going to check out the Plymouth Rock, of course, and have something to eat, imbibe some adult beverages, and I might do a live video. And here's Big White. Very nice anchorage here in the Plymouth Harbor. Very cute town overall. And over there? Yep, that's where we're going. Plymouth Rock, landing place of the Pilgrims, 1620.
This is the rock.
That's it. You saw it here first. Check out all these ducks here. They are going crazy. Anyways, this is all very pretty, but let's go eat.
There used to be the lighthouse.
Let's walk uphill here for about 2 blocks towards Court Street.
The Laughing Moon.
Cool looking lobster. I think we are going to this place called New World Tavern. 34 beers on tap and over 120 bottles. Not bad.
Well, we're actually not having Cigar City, we're having Pilgrim IPA.
Chowder.
It's a huge pudding.
And tiramisu.
Thank you.
Yep, that was good. And now we shall see the Plymouth Rock once again at night. And the moon shines through the clouds. Very pretty. Well, we had some leftover wood, so we made a fire and called it a night. Well, good morning. We are going to Boston and we plan to spend most of the day there. By the way, we couldn't have asked for better weather. Why are we driving into the city, you might ask? And we've been going back and forth on this one, but contrary to popular belief, there is plenty of parking in Boston, especially on a weekend. By the way, we seem to be in Chinatown. Anyways, a round-trip ticket on the commuter train would have been $23 per person. Originally, we were thinking of parking at the Boston Commons underground parking, which is $32 on the weekdays but only $18 on weekends. By the way, today is Saturday, but that was with old Kia. With this big F-250 monster truck, we are going to need something with a little higher clearance, like this one. City Place Garage, which is going to cost us $32. Still, a lot cheaper than the train. Plus, we have more flexibility and mobility, and it'll save us time in the long run.
Well, hopefully we'll be okay here. In the original plan, this was the garage that we were gonna park at, but the clearance of the truck...
Yeah, the Boston Commons garage is only 6 feet and 3 inches clearance, but there's also plenty of parking here on the street, at least today on a Saturday morning. And they're having some kind of march here at Boston Commons. The Boston Public Garden here, very pretty. Very nice place to decompress in the middle of the bustling city. Also, here's some of the nicest gardens I've seen in a while. Here we have this equestrian sculpture of George Washington. Picture perfect, with the Boston skyline behind it. The statue itself dates back to 1869. That building looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? It is, of course, Cheers, where everybody knows your name, and it is about to open, filmed before a live YouTube audience, in this case. And they just opened up, so let's go into the set bar, which is upstairs, and this will be pretty much breakfast for us. And I'll pretend to be Norm and sit here.
It looked bigger on TV. Yeah, that's the people going inside.
Downstairs they have another restaurant, but it doesn't look like the Cheers from the TV series. The menu, themed after the show's characters, and collectible napkins. We get a nice IPA, although I think this is more of a lager town, since Samuel Adams was from here after all, right? New England clam chowder in a mug. And the Oktoberfest special, and a club sandwich.
Well, I think we sat at Fraser's favorite spot, but anyways, that was Cheers.
Okay, and this is the lower portion of Cheers here.
Yeah, let's just see what the lower level looks like.
Which is not at all like the original Cheers.
Obviously, there was no room down here for the set bar. The walls covered with memorabilia, as they should be. At the beginning, I thought I was sitting at Norm's stool at the upstairs bar, but it was on the other side. Anyways, they even have the wooden Indian statue. Really, really cool.
In Maryland.
Well, now that we've had our fun, let's immerse ourselves in history, and there's plenty of that here in Boston. This here is the Sailors and Soldiers Monument, dedicated to those from Massachusetts who lost their lives during the Civil War. And here's a World War I sea mine.
Alright, let's do the Freedom Trail. Which begins here at the Visitor Information Center.
Okay, let's do it. We're supposed to follow the red bricks on the sidewalk. Boston, so far? Great, vibrant city, I love it. Although I suspect most of the people around us here are tourists, just like us. Here we are, approaching the Massachusetts State House, basically the state capital, dating back to 1798.
And here's a relief.
The State House here was built on land once owned by John Hancock, Massachusetts' first elected governor. Paul Revere was also here, supervising the construction, and in 1997, the dome was regilded in 23-karat gold. We continue towards the Park Street Church.
We continue following the Freedom Trail path.
Here, across the street from Boston Common, is our next stop. It is a pretty noisy city, by the way. I wonder what's going on. Our next stop here is the Granary Burying Ground. Here we have Paul Revere, the 5 victims of the Boston Massacre, and 3 signers of the Declaration of Independence: Samuel Adams, John Hancock, and Robert Treat Paine. Their final resting place.
Here's John Hancock.
That's the stone that has the pennies on the top that the men were profiting in some way off of the slave trade.
Perhaps we should have gotten a guided tour, but we decided to explore on our own. By the way, here's Paul Revere.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Some very interesting gravestones. And the pyramid in the middle that says Franklin, that's not Ben. If you remember, we saw him back in Philly. These are his parents and relatives buried here.
It's a Tremont Temple.
We continue walking the trail.
King's Chapel.
Next stop is the King's Chapel, a historic Unitarian church and a fine example of colonial architecture. Actually, let's step inside. The current church was completed in 1754, but it was actually built around the original 1689 building, so they wouldn't disturb services. When they completed construction, the original church was demolished and removed through the windows. Pretty cool, huh?
The old burial ground.
This is Boston's oldest burying ground. Okay, this was very interesting. Let's continue.
This is the next thing.
This here is the old city hall. Nowadays, a Ruth Chris Steakhouse.
Okay. Old City Hall.
There's a famous Benjamin Franklin statue who was actually a Boston native.
School, yeah. School made you read and probably memorize something.
This is also the site of the first public school in America, the original Boston Latin School.
Here's the Boston 5 cents savings.
Something interesting and peculiar about Boston is that many of these old historic buildings have been repurposed. The 5 cents savings bank building is now a Walgreens, just like the old City Hall was a Ruth Chris Steakhouse. The old corner bookstore is now a Chipotle Mexican grill. This is the Irish Famine Memorial, commemorating the famine that took place between 1845 and 1852.
Benjamin Franklin was baptized, huh?
It's the Old South Meeting House.
Well, gentrification, but anyways, this is the birthplace of Benjamin Franklin. Continue down the Freedom Trail.
This old building here, standing among all these skyscrapers, is none other than the Old State House, the oldest public building in Boston, and the site of the Boston Massacre, which was one of the events that led to the rebellion against the British authority.
Of course. We have a saxophone player somewhere on here. Let's continue. That's a subway entrance. And this was the site of the Boston Massacre, right here. March 5th, 1770. The site of the first meeting house.
There's our saxophone player. Actually, the sound carries really well in this corner. Great acoustics. Next, we're going to check out the Faneuil Hall. Nice juxtaposition of the old and the new. Here's the Faneuil Hall and the modern Boston City Hall across the street. Talk about an eyesore. This place has tourist trap written all over it, but let's check it out anyways. There's a statue of Sam Adams.
Open this all the way up, guys. Nobody move. Nobody gets hurt. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for our volunteers. Everyone, make some noise for our volunteers. Make some noise for who you are.
All right, let's go inside the hall.
Now, volunteers, arms out.
Here's one of 4 original cashier booths, and outside, it is a circus. I have nothing against street performers, but to me, in this setting, they don't add to the experience, in my opinion anyways. Except for the drummer, perhaps, but I'm biased. I am partial to musicians, being one myself, and this guy is really good. Ooh, check it out, there's a Cheers here too. Alright, let's go hang out with Norm and Cliffy and Frasier and the rest of the gang. Norm has aged a bit. Something light and refreshing so we can continue exploring. There's still a lot to see here in Boston.
More street performers here. Thank you, everyone.
Here we have another street performer, this one with a Scottish theme going on, I guess. There's so many people here. Ooh, he's still going at it. This tall gentleman here is Kevin Hagen White, former mayor of Boston. Pizza alone won't fill an emptiness in your soul. You also need beer. Ben Franklin would agree, I think, although I think his original quote was actually about wine, but anyways. We're walking towards North End, which is the city's oldest residential community, continuously inhabited since the 1630s. As we get closer, here for example is the oldest continually operated restaurant and oyster bar in the United States, established in 1717. And this street also looks kind of something out of a Harry Potter film, doesn't it? And here's the oldest tavern. The Boston Stone here was brought from England and according to legend served as the zero milestone or mile marker zero of Boston.
Some kind of festival here, or farmer's market actually.
Yep, big farmer's market today.
Okay, we're interrupted here.
Pineapples!
This open area here is the Rose Kennedy Greenway. And this is where the Central Artery, or as we say in the South Expressway, used to go through before they built the Big Dig and moved it underground and made this nice linear park. And we are now in North End, which is also the Italian neighborhood, with some of the best Italian restaurants I hear. I wish we were hungry. This is Hanover Street, the main drag here, but we're going to take a quick detour first to see Paul Revere's house, where he began his legendary midnight ride to alert the colonial militia that the British forces were approaching.
Paul Revere's house.
And this is it.
Sacred Heart Italian Church.
All right. Here, folks, we're going to cross over and then take a right on the other side of the street.
Should we tag along? Maybe not. And we're back on Hanover. And here's Paul Revere's statue, but the park is all under construction, so let's continue. And here we stumble upon the San Gennaro feast.
Yeah, San Gennaro comes to Boston.
Our friend Bob Nestori from Philly told us not to miss it in New York, which we did, by the way, and now we find it here. Isn't this awesome? Again, I wish we were hungry. It looks, it smells, and it sounds like it's going to be a fun festival, but first we want to finish the Freedom Trail here. The next spot is the Old North Church. Just like Paul Revere's house, which was $5 to go in, the church is $8, so we're going to admire the architecture from outside and keep going. Needless to say, we are getting a little tired of walking, and we're going uphill, because the next stop is the Copp's Hill Burying Ground. This is the city's second oldest cemetery, by the way. It was from that steeple that Paul Revere told 3 Boston patriots to hang 2 lanterns to warn the people of Charlestown across the Charles River about the movements of the British Army. We continue. Now going over the Charlestown Bridge, over the Charles River, towards our last 2 points of interest here. The first one is that obelisk called Bunker Hill Monument. The other one would be the USS Constitution. Here's the City Square Park.
Roman Catholic Church.
And there it is, Bunker Hill Monument. Let's see if I can make it all the way to the top.
Disappointed not to have asked.
Okay. So,
Well, here goes nothing. It is 294 steps, and it gets narrower the higher you get.
Type of physiological basis to...
Only a third of the way there. As it gets narrower, it is more of a bottleneck. Well, made it to the top, but it is very crowded up here. Very claustrophobic. Everybody waiting for their turn to look out the window, although some people just take possession of a window without any consideration for the rest of us. You know, there's only one window per side, right? Well, I hope he got a great shot because none of us could. Thanks. It is finally my turn to get some nice shots of the city skyline. Oh, by the way, it would be nice if they cleaned the glass from time to time. Just saying. Down and down we go. Actually, going down is almost as tiring as going up, just because you have to go so slow. Well, that wasn't the greatest experience, and if you are claustrophobic at all, do not do this one. Well, that was a pretty hardcore climb all the way up there, very crowded. They should probably limit the amount of people, but great views of Boston from up there. You know, I went all the way up there. Next, the USS Constitution, but I don't think we're gonna have time for that one today. There is something else I want to do by sunset, and believe it or not, it is almost 5 p.m. We'll be back tomorrow and go inside and all that. Right now, we're going to take an Uber to the parking lot, and off we go to a different city and a different state as well. A new state for us. We're heading down to Providence, Rhode Island, because tonight they have this event they do some nights in the summer called Water Fire, in which they literally light up the river on fire. It is supposed to be really cool, and our timing today would be perfect. Besides, it is an opportunity to add a new state to our sticker map, and that's just too good to resist. It is about an hour drive, and here we are. Providence. Parking might be an issue since this is such a popular event, but we'll see. There's the Capitol building to the right. Well, yeah, as I suspected, the parking lot we had chosen is full. Hopefully we'll find something somewhere else. It is a little bit congested here, but while I was stopped, I looked on Google Maps and I think I saw a large parking lot by the Capitol building. Here we go. Event parking $15. I'll take it at this point.
Can we park in here for the water fire? Yeah, $15. All right.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it, all right. Where we parked the big white in front of the Rhode Island State House.
Let's walk down to the river and see this thing and then eat. Actually, we haven't had anything since Cheers this morning. It is quite a nice downtown. I wish we had more time here, but as you know, our time is very limited. We'll probably return next year, around this time. And here we are. I think this is going to be as good as it gets, location-wise, to see the event. This is it. I'm claiming this spot right here. This event, by the way, attracts roughly 40,000 people. The tradition began in the mid-90s. Water fire is, and I quote from the Wikipedia here, simultaneously a free public art installation, a performance work, an urban festival, a civic ritual, and a spiritual communal ceremony. Well known nationally and internationally as a community arts event. Waterfire's symbolism and interpretation is both inclusive and expansive, reflecting the recognition that individuals must act together to strengthen and preserve their community. That's what they actually light on fire, which is apparently aromatic wood. After what feels like ages, here they finally come. It is going to be a while till they make it to where we are. Little by little, they start lighting up all these floating torches or bonfires. I don't know exactly what they are called. Oh wait, I believe they are called braziers. Here they come. It is all very artistic, if perhaps a little slow for my impatient taste. It was certainly lucky to find out about this event and be here for it. As soon as I knew we were going to be here on this Saturday, I made sure to try to make it, if only to see this unique spectacle. It's pretty much all lit up back there. Really cool to see and smell, actually. Yep, it is all this drawn-out ritual, lighting up the fires. And they are finally done. Now let's go eat. It is very mesmerizing, for sure. Everybody seems to be, anyways. I guess the combination of fire and water have this profound calming effect. Oh, by the way, they do offer gondola rides. Okay, Union Station Brewery. Let's go in there. When it is cloudy, you know it's going to be a good IPA. And we ordered the burritos as well. Why not?
Well, this was very nice here at the brewery. And we have to drive all the way back to Plymouth. Oh, by the way, great burrito. Let's find our car now, or the monster truck. What did I call it? Big White.
Yeah, that certainly hit the right spot. Although the burrito tasted more Italian than Mexican, and that's totally okay. It was delicious, and check out the moon. Gotta love a city with street musicians. We got some break dancing here. It's been a while since I saw that. Rhode Island State House. Made out of white Georgia marble, it is the fourth largest self-supported marble dome in the world. The statue of the independent man, originally called Hope. It's been a long day. We're tired.
And the monster truck is somewhere up here. And there's Big White.
Well, good night. Well, good morning. We are going back to Boston. We are going to see the USS Constitution, we are going to eat some Italian, and then I have to drop Ili off at the airport because she has to fly back to Miami, and then I have to drive back to Miami nearly non-stop because I have to return this big white truck by Wednesday. A little tight at this curve, perhaps. We go back in the big dig. Quite the engineering marvel, aside from all the problems it had. And we found parking. It is going to be like $11 for the 3 hours or so we're going to be here, and it is a little tight for Big White, the monster truck, but we'll make it work. Here we are. The USS Constitution, launched in 1797 and named by President Washington himself after the then only 10 years old United States Constitution. Let's go below decks. The ship was apparently stronger and more heavily armed than other frigates at the time. There's an even lower level. I guess this is where the crew slept. Let's walk to the aft section. I guess this back here are the officers' quarters. Notice the low clearance ceiling. Perhaps people were shorter back then? I'm kidding, of course. Perhaps headroom wasn't a major concern on a ship designed for war. She is the world's oldest commissioned naval vessel still afloat, and probably one of our most historic ships. By the way, I do believe all these cannons are replicas, put here when they made the ship into a museum. Let's take a picture at the helm, behind the wheel. I was really tempted to ring the bell, but ultimately decided against it.
Well, there was the USS Constitution. Now let's go eat.
And with that, we bring the Freedom Trail to a completion, the USS Constitution. Now let's go get some Italian and then off we go. for the sake of saving time, we're gonna take an Uber to North End, where parking would be a lot more challenging. So we are leaving the big truck in Charlestown.
The birthplace of Clementina.
We get some bread and olive oil, delicious. Olives, scallops, and a pasta plate called rossetto. Tiramisu for dessert and espresso. And there seems to be some procession happening outside. Ooh, I see. This must be part of that San Gennaro festival we saw yesterday.
Okay, we're back by Paul Revere's house. By the way, that restaurant we ate, Limoncello, really good. A little pricey, but it felt so authentic. Our waiter, he was from Genova. You know, an old timer, really cool guy. Yeah, I fully recommend it. Unfortunately, our time here is running out, so yeah, we gotta go.
Actually, before we go, let's follow the music a little here. I have a thing for marching bands, and we still have a little time to spare. We kind of continue walking on Hanover Street, sort of following the procession. There are actually two bands. The one in the front is playing now, which is more of a waltzy, down-tempo style. Serendipitous to be here today in the middle of this procession. This is actually the first year they do this San Gennaro here in Boston. The original celebration, of course, has been taking place in Mulberry Street in New York since 1926. It is still great to be here as they are bringing this Italian tradition to North End here in Boston. This is an original reproduction of the statue of San Gennaro, blessed by Pope Francis himself in person at the Vatican. Well, time's up. We're walking back to the car. I'm going to take Illy to Boston Logan Airport here, where she has a 3-hour flight back to Miami. And then I'm going back to the campground to get ready for my 3-day drive back to Miami. Although I am going to try and do it in 2.5. Yeah, I'm leaving tonight.
Riding my RV.
We've got 2 more states to add to our map here. First, of course, Massachusetts. And of course, Rhode Island. And my rule for this is you either have to sleep in the state or do something significant. And I think Rhode Island qualifies. We saw that a water fire in Providence, so it's a very tiny sticker. But I'm gonna put it right there. Anyways, now back to Miami.
Well, we are leaving New England. Ooh, bumpy.
We're really far away from home.
Over the next 2.5 days, I am going to be driving nearly non-stop, using the fastest possible route, until I make it back to South Florida. On this first part of the trip, I am driving west on Interstate 195.
Riding in my RV.
Approaching Rhode Island.
Riding my RV.
Soon after,
Welcome to Connecticut. Welcome to New York.
it is a long, tedious nocturnal drive, and fatigue starts to set in as I approach the most stressful portion, crossing New York City. As we approach the city, it gets progressively unnerving, especially those white signs saying passenger cars only. What if I make a mistake and exit at a low clearance overpass? If it was daytime and I was 100%, I probably wouldn't mind so much, but right now, it is a white-knuckle drive for sure. To add to my predicament, it isn't the smoothest of roads either, as we drive across the Bronx. As we approach the Washington Bridge, more height restrictions and no trucks signs. Let me tell you, this is not for the faint of heart. The GPS thinks I'm in a car, so it's telling me to do one thing, and the signs tell me to do another. I mean, it is definitely an experience, but next time, I'm going to do it in the daytime and rested, not after 4 hours on the road. And the reason I'm doing this right now, it is Sunday night, so I figured the traffic would be lighter, and it is. The other choice would have been tomorrow morning, Monday, rush hour, I don't know. Anyways, besides, I want to get to Miami as soon as possible. This is it, the George Washington Bridge, spanning the Hudson River.
Welcome to New Jersey.
Thank you.
Pretty nice views of the Manhattan skyline, although from the bridge, I never saw it with my own eyes. I just pointed the camera in that general direction, hoping to get something. Trust me, the drive required my undivided attention. I need a break. Badly. There is a truck rest area coming up, so I'm going to stop for a few minutes. And remember Rob from South Philly? Well, I remember he did offer his business in Camden, New Jersey as a possible boondocking spot. It is about a 2-hour drive on the New Jersey Turnpike, so I'm going to send him a message to see if it is okay to crash at his place tonight. Well, Rob said yes, so off I go. I'm gonna take the New Jersey Turnpike here. And with that, we say goodbye to New York. Until next time. Most of the trip is uneventful until the very end.
It's raining pretty bad, pretty hard. We are 6 miles away. Actually 9 miles away, 6 miles from the exit.
I've had enough of this rain.
Hi, how are you? How much? 35.
Ugh, I'm so tired I can't barely talk. By the way, $35 for the turnpike with my 4 axles. Ouch.
35.
Keep right.
Finally made it. I can't believe it. I am gonna crash so hard, and Rob was waiting for me, so thank you so much. See you next time, we're in Philly. Well, tomorrow will be another day. Good morning. I slept well and had my Cuban coffee, so I am ready for an all-day drive. The goal is South Carolina. We'll see. We're about to cross into Delaware.
Welcome to Delaware.
Let's go into the Delaware Welcome Center here, get a map, and it looks like I'm going to have to go all the way to the trucks section. But there is plenty of room. Inside, it is like a service plaza, and the actual welcome desk was closed, but I was able to get a map. They left them conveniently laying on a desk. Ooh, I don't think I'll ever again complain about tolls in South Florida. Who am I kidding? Of course I will, but still, the Northeast is pretty insane when it comes to toll roads.
Almost in Maryland.
Welcome to Maryland.
Now crossing the Susquehanna River. The next challenge? Baltimore. Not only because of the heavy traffic and the relentless rain, but also because propane is forbidden in the tunnel, and they do have signs all over, unlike other places, so they must be really serious about it. So I must search for an alternate route. I'll set my GPS to avoid highways temporarily, and we'll go around and see a little bit of Baltimore in the process. I love this part of the country, don't get me wrong, but driving an RV in this area, you know, the large metropolitan areas here on the Eastern Corridor, especially one with propane, is just inconvenient sometimes. Well, at least we are getting to see some of the city, huh? Here's Little Italy. The last time we were here, Christmas 2012, the city was deserted. We didn't have an RV back then either. And we are back on I-95, going towards the nation's capital, although I think we're gonna take the Beltway and try to avoid the worst of the traffic.
Welcome to District of Columbia.
We'll revisit DC some other time.
Really? How about Virginia?
Welcome to Virginia.
Oh, thank you. Well, just took a shower here at the Virginia Welcome Center. We are in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Got my map, and I always like to take a shower during one of the, this when it is a long driving day like today, non-stop driving. I like to take a shower more or less halfway because it kind of resets your clock,
In 800 feet, merge onto I-95 South.
Thank you so much. And then you're able to drive much longer. As you know, this part of the trip is pretty much non-stop driving. I have to return Big White here back to the Tires Plus shop. He told me to take it to him, so that's what I'm doing. And it's been a little bit of a miserable drive here. It's been raining. I guess this is like a cold front, and I'm just I'm driving south with it, which is kind
Continue on I-95 South for 56 miles.
Hold on, I have to merge here, and sometimes it's not as easy as it looks. Here we go. The goal is South Carolina, but I might make it to Georgia. I don't know. It would be really cool to be in Miami tomorrow. That way I can return the truck Wednesday morning. We'll see. I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. Oh yeah, I haven't been filming much. Like, yeah, it's been mostly GoPro footage because, you know, I'm not gonna stop anywhere except south of the border, maybe. I want to thank Rob Nestore for letting me crash at his place last night. It's really cool to have friends on the road, and definitely in my line of work, you know, making videos, it facilitates that, and I'm very grateful, very lucky to know so many people on the road, or at least so many people know me on the road, which is good. All right, catch up with you guys later. We are now in North Carolina.
Welcome to North Carolina.
Let's stop at the rest area.
After many more uneventful hours, I am finally reaching my destination, which in this case will be I-95's most famous tourist trap, here at the North and South Carolina state line, very appropriately called South of the Border.
Welcome to South Carolina.
Thank you.
They do have this somewhat cheesy fall Mexican motif. Wouldn't this nowadays qualify as cultural appropriation, or is that not a thing anymore? Regardless, and I am kidding, of course, I always like to stop here the few times that I've come across it, and this is the first time really that I come here with an RV. And conveniently, they do have a campground called Pedro's. I think Pedro actually, quote-unquote, owns everything here. Here's my site. Let's get settled in and have some dinner and relax.
Well, this is where we are. South of the border. Let me show you around. And here we are.
The tower with the sombrero on top, it's actually an observation tower.
Well, this is the Sombrero restaurant. I think that's where I'm going to eat, I think. I don't see any other place. Beautiful afternoon here in South Carolina. Just south of the border with North Carolina.
I begin with a Dos Equis, a Mexican beer, not an IPA, and the menu has a Mexican section and a southern section, by the way. But I ordered a burger because it's not like we are in Mexico or anything like that, right? Anyways, good night. Well, good morning once again. I slept pretty well last night too, so today it is Miami or bust. And this guy just broke down, right here. Seriously, look at all that smoke coming out. Well, I'm going to make use of my mad backing up skills and go around the other way. Gotta return my key card here at the office, and I'm also gonna fill up the tank. I-95 looks pretty much all the same from here all the way to Florida, and then the only highlight is really perhaps Jacksonville. I do get some rain here and there along the way. Now crossing Lake Marion. And the sun is coming out, finally. And you know what's on my mind? I'll give you a hint. We're crossing the Savannah River. Yes, you guessed right. We are now in Georgia. Let's fill up here at the Flying J because pretty soon, we're going to be in a different state. Well, we've made it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Florida. Although, don't celebrate prematurely. We still have about 6 hours to go, assuming I don't have to stop, which I do. Yep, clean the lens. Much better, huh?
It's incredibly hot out there. I'm starting to miss the crisp air of the north, but it is what it is. Trip is coming to an end. Here we are near Titusville, Florida.
You see, I'm not kidding you. For most of Florida, I-95 is really this boring. Not that it is any better in Georgia or the Carolinas, but at least it is an easy drive. Let's go into the Fort Pierce Flying J here to make one final dump and to put gas. We're about 2 hours away from home here. And I'm getting really tired.
Oh, it's hot out there. Anyways, very clean dump station here at the Flying J in Fort Pierce. 2 more hours to go. We're on the home stretch. Got me some pilot coffee. Woo. Let's do this.
You're not gonna believe what happened. I forgot to put gas. Some gas stations can be a little hard to navigate towing a trailer. This one, is not too bad. riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV. Yeah, I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV. Yeah. Well, to make a long story short, 2 hours later, I made it to Miami, thus ending a road trip where very few things went as planned. This was the road trip where old Kia, my trusty tow vehicle, finally died. A trip that originally was going to be 2 or 2.5 months long turned into 2.5 weeks. Still, we accomplished a lot, we saw a lot, and learned a lot. Now, on to the next one. I hope you enjoyed. As always, thank you so much for watching and see you on the road.